to be a time that fairy tales were true. The king and the queen and all the pills were blue. But then the pill changed, the red pill's the truth. Forget the married life, I got better things to do. Stack money.
Welcome back to the Anthony Spade channel. Before we get started, I want you to watch the entire video. If you like the video, comment, like, subscribe at the end of the video. But first, watch the entire video. Next, I will not be talking about all women, even though it feels like it. And if you haven't subscribed to my second channel, who is Anthony Spade, the link is in the description. All right. Today, I want to talk about what guys can learn from Kwame Brown. Right now, Kwame Brown is trending. He's had some confrontation between some basketball players, Stephen Jackson, Stephen A. Smith, and Tommy Sotomayor is what it's looking like now. But right now, he is really trending. He's taking off. He's becoming one of those socialites in the YouTube world. And I really like what he's doing. I really like what he's becoming. And I really like his red pill. I really like his no-holds-barred attitude. And guess what? He's a prime example of a guy taking the red pill. And he's a prime example of what a lot of you guys need in your life. Let me go ahead and break it down to you. Why he's somebody you could learn from and why it's turning into a role model. Because for one, a lot of you guys are soft-spoken just like he was. That's what I'm getting from his personality. He's a soft-spoken guy. You know what I'm saying? He had a lot to say if somebody said something about him, but it seemed like he just kept it to himself. He was more observing to life than he was rebellious with something to prove. Now, this is what you guys got to learn from him. All right? For one, he got a name. Kwame Brown Bust Life that was given to him. Everybody in the media seems to call him a bust for 20 years. That's what I'm getting. 20 years. And I'm going off of his words. For 20 years, they disrespected this man. 20 years, they talked about this man really bad. But you want to know something? For 20 years, that man was able to keep his mouth shut. All right? Which required a lot of self-discipline. That's what you guys have to understand. When you have self-discipline, you don't give words power. For 20 years, Kwame Brown was able to keep words from hurting him. All right? Now, what happened with him doing that? I'm going to explain to you what happened with him doing that. With getting all the disrespect. But I'm going to tell you another story to bring you back to this story. All right? This story is going to be called The Smart Man and the Stupid Kid. All right? There's a guy named George who owns a barbershop. His friend Tom comes in from out of town to get his hair cut. Tom walks into the barbershop. Him and George are having a conversation in the barbershop, talking about old times. And Tom was explaining to him his new house, where he lived at, his new neighborhood. And then here comes the kid. George looks through the barbershop window and see the kid come into the barbershop. And he looks over at Tom and he says, Tom, you won't believe how stupid this little kid is. Every day this kid comes in here and he asks me for $1 to get a snow cone. But all I do is give him 50 cents. And the kid never realizes that I'm giving him 50 cents. Moments later, the kid come walking through the door. And the kid says, how you doing, Mr. George? George looks down at Tom. Then he looks back at the kid and says, I'm doing good. And the kid says, hey, can I have $1 to get some ice cream? George goes in his pocket. He pulls out 2 quarters and he pulls the quarters out. He shows Tom that there's only 50 cents in his hand. And then he gives the 50 cents to the boy and he says, here's your $1. Go have a nice ice cream cone. And the boy looked back at George and says, thank you, and walked back out the door. Tom and George looked at each other, and George is looking at Tom and saying, hey, I told you he's a stupid kid. Fast forward, Tom's leaving the barbershop this time. And Tom just happens to see the little kid on the sidewalk walking with the ice cream cone. And he goes up to the kid and he says, hey kid, where's your parent at? I just wanted to let you know, I don't think you're smart. Because you're going in there and you're asking Mr. George for $1 and he's only giving you 50 cents. And the kid says, I know that, but the moment that I admit that he's only giving me 50 cents is the moment he stops giving me 50 cents. The moral of the story is, as long as that kid was getting what he wanted from George, he could care less what George thought about him. He could care less if George thought he was stupid, if George thought he was a dumb kid and didn't have any parents. Why? Because the snow cone was only 50 cents. That's what you got to understand. Back to Kwame. Kwame Brown managed to stay quiet for 20 years and be called a bust, but yet he got to play with Kobe Bryant. But yet he got to play with Michael Jordan. He may not have been the best in the league, but just due to the simple fact that he was able to bite his tongue and not give words power and fall into an ego, he still made over $80 million throughout his career and stayed in the league for 13 years. That's more than somebody in the league that's been called a champion, that's been called the player of the year. How many people have that type of career is what you have to think about. That's a hell of a career for somebody that was called a bust due to the simple fact he never gave someone power. See, now what you're seeing is Kwame, you're seeing the red pill. You're seeing him says, all right, I know who's who and what's what. I didn't fall into y'all game plan. I was the bust that was sitting back paying attention to everybody else. See, you see more when you let your eyes listen. All right? You see more, you learn more when you let your eyes listen. So now he has the knowledge and the confidence to fight back. And that's what's attractive. That's what's making him go viral. It's because a lot of you guys out there, you've been picked on by people. You've been talked down by people. And he represents you. You may not have something against Stevie A and these other guys that he's going back and forth with, but there's somebody in your life that you know once you gain the confidence, you want to be able to talk to them like that so you can feel better about yourself. That's what you got to learn from Kwame Brown. That's why everything is bigger than the people that he's bickering back and forth with. We need more men like this that can stand up to men like Stephen A that may think that they're part of the cool kids. You know what I'm saying? That's how the entertainment world is. A lot of these people out here are addicted to Instagram because Instagram makes you feel like a celebrity, but majority of these celebrities are miserable. When you live for someone else's thoughts, you're no longer in control of your own thoughts. That's what you got to learn by Kwame Brown. Even though they called him a bust, he never fell into somebody else's system to be approved by others. But yet, he still managed to get everything in life that he wanted. This guy is somebody that you can look up to, and I really like his story the more I dig into it, because I think he is very, very, very inspirational to a lot of guys out there, especially a lot of young men. If you stop and look at what's happening with women now, you know what I'm saying? A lot of you guys out there, you have to start waking up. Because a lot of you guys out there, you have daughters. And it's going to take you getting that confidence, standing up for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Not feeling down about yourself. Knowing where you want to go. Because you have to be able to correct your daughters in order to correct the future. You got to get stronger as a man. We live in a world now where these guys are underneath this simulated spell that's just made them weak. It's not them weak physically. It's a psychological transformation of the brain. I stress a lot to you guys. You need to get off the internet for at least 6 hours out of the day and allow your mind, your body and soul to come back to reality. If not, you could become a slave to this YouTube shit. You could become a slave to social media. That's what my second channel is for. It's to show you guys what I do whenever I put this phone down, just to keep from becoming a slave to my content. If you look at a lot of these content creators, man, all they know is drama. All they know is negativity. All they know is that it gets some ratings, it makes some money, but it destroys their morality as an individual. Big shout outs to Kwame Brown. I'm enjoying your success. I've been trying to keep up with all your lives, but right now, I really do think you guys need to pay attention and watch this dude, and you'll start noticing that you and him have a lot of traits, and you can learn from him. This is Anthony Spade. Comment, like, subscribe to both of my channels. Hasta la vista.